Okay, so I'm here with retired New York Police Detective Sergeant Kevin Gannon, and we are walking the spot where a still, as far as I know, an unidentified body was found back on January 5th around sundown by a guy that was out here smoking weed. And what?
The homeless guy?
No. The guy who found the body was out here smoking a joint. He found the body. There was a bottle of vodka and a laptop next to the guy, and I believe he had work boots on. We can overlay the photo, blur most of it out, but we can overlay that later. But we're out here and
here you said
right here, right where you're standing, actually. Okay. We just looked over the site here. I just want to get your take on what you think about the graffiti and what you think happened according to the story that I just told you.
Well, obviously, for me, it looks suspicious, the fact that it would be right here. I heard there was another individual that was possibly at the scene, so we don't know if he did it right at that time, but if obviously it was fresh when the body was found, and the fact that he was dumped right at this location seems like it was specifically, the body was placed here for a reason, and obviously for this. What turned me on to, I saw your video online that time, was when I saw the 666.
Right.
And then obviously this what looks here like the female sign, not quite an upside down crucifix, but I don't know if the individual, the victim, was gay or deceased. It could have been something they were throwing at him because saying like die you bitch kind of a thing with doing the female sign. But the 666, and I can't really see in the sun now, but it could be something else that's ritualistic with like a flower or a three-leaf clover, almost like the way we have in some of our cases, Celtic cross and stuff like that. So those things are ritualistic pieces.
And that's what that at the bottom there could be as well, right?
Yeah, it could be, because I can't see it clearly enough. Hopefully it'll come out on camera, but those are the ritualistic things that I would be looking for. And if that's there where our body is, then it kind of relates to the fact that it could be related to our group.
Right. And it is near the water, but the discrepancy here is that the body wasn't wet at all, according to the witness that found it.
Right. So then the question would be, how was he deceased? What caused his death?
Right.
Was he suffocated? Was he strangled? Did he drown and then they dragged him out? Did they just stick his head in and then pull him out? I mean, I don't know. So I don't know. We don't even have a name of him yet.
No. It's completely unidentified, as far as I know.
So yeah, 'cause that would be an autopsy report I would like to read to find out what happened. Because first, like I always tell you, first I have to be able to prove that it's a homicide, and then if the graffiti, the present graffiti is reflective of my group, then I would know that it's.
Would there be any signs of like trauma on the body or anything that you would look for to specifically connect it to the Smiley Face killings or the rest of the Austin water deaths at Lady Bird here?
No, because our guys are pretty good. What they do is there's not too many marks left behind. I mean, and if they are, it's very discreet. Like on one of our cases in La Crosse, the one I was telling you about before, that the police let the vehicle go with the occupants, where Luke's scent was probably in the vehicle. They had, in our show, the Smiley Face Killers on Oxygen, he had these markings, and I knew that when most bodies float to the bottom after drowning, what happens is before they actually rise, you need the gases in the body to build up for the bodies to actually float. So bloat to float. But what happened was, everybody thinks that they just come right up. No, what happens is you're on the bottom of the ground, and as the gases start to rise, the water then will start moving the body,
and it scrapes up the face.
So the face marks should be vertical. They should not be horizontal. But when Luke had it, he had it like a cross up and down. And when we had a tool marksman come on the show, tool expert, he showed that there was a boot print on Luke's head that was holding the body down. So that's not going to be enough to hold a 200-pound guy down 6 foot. So what we tried to test was somebody holding his legs down? Was somebody here? Was there touch DNA evidence on the leg of his pants? Because that's where it would be.
So do you think that it would be possible that, given that the guy who found the body said there was a suspicious individual here who was watching everything that happened, wearing a black hoodie, he prior to recording, he actually told me that it was a black guy. And then once we started rolling, he said he wasn't sure. So he could have been nervous. He could have been trying to be politically correct or some other shit. Doesn't really matter. But there was somebody here with a black hoodie on that was watching what happened. Potentially could have been the one to spray paint the graffiti on these trees. And then when the guy originally eventually figured out that the body was dead because he didn't realize it first.
He just thought he fell asleep.
The guy was over there watching and then waited while he was calling the police. Then once the police showed up, the guy scurried off. Do you think it's possible that basically this guy stumbled onto a murder in progress?
Yeah, I do, but only for the fact that we know that most assailants do usually watch the crime scene or come back when the police come. They don't usually just stay. They leave and then they come back with everybody like they're just onlookers.
Right.
But the fact that this guy I guess he figured he was good enough that there was nobody here and he just walked to the side and everybody would just come down to the body and not notice him, and then he would blend in with the crowd. But the fact that he stuck around, I mean, that's usually one of the signs that the killers do. They want to see, they can possibly get off on the fact that it's, that it's here and that they did it and they got away with it, unless anybody puts it together. And they also want to see what the police do.
Right. Is anything, if we were to able to request the autopsy, is there anything in the autopsy that would determine that it wasn't a murder and just potentially two guys, doing drugs or something and one of them overdosed or something like that?
Yeah, well, listen, autopsy would definitely tell overdose. They'd also say if he had a heart attack. They'd also could tell if he was, if he was strangled or if he was suffocated. Because if you're suffocated and they held you, you'd have petechiae, these little blood vessels in the bottom of your eyes. You would have it was suffocated. If you were strangled, the hyoid bone is a little U-shaped bone at the bottom of your neck. If I did that to you and I broke that bone would be broken. Due to manual strangulation.
Okay. So basically, in this instance, if there's nothing like that on the autopsy, then this would be potentially considered a homicide?
Yeah, if depending on what the autopsy said. I mean, if I could read the autopsy, I would know. Okay. And a medical examiner would know right away.
Okay.
If it was something else, if they brought him down here or they strangled him or whatever and he was suffocated, usually, like I said, one, you get the petechia. Two, you would you'd usually bite your tongues. Most strangulated victims bite their tongues. So there would be marks that it was a strangulation or whatever. So
okay. Is there anything else here that you want to comment on?
No, just the fact that obviously where it is by the water, a deceased body. The symbols are
suspicious.
It's definitely suspicious, and obviously some of the symbols are reflective of symbols that are left at some of the crime scenes that we've had.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you. Thank you for bringing it down here and showing this to me.
Absolutely.